Welcome to my third recorded playthrough of Solo Spirit Island. This is Serpent slumbering beneath the island and Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares versus England at level 4. At level 4, England places additional towns and cities on the board at setup, and they also build in lands that are adjacent to towns or cities, even if there are no invaders in the land that they're attempting to build in. We also have the high immigration tile, which will be out for the whole game. This means that after the invaders ravage, they will build in the same land type in the next turn. England has an additional loss condition, which is if they reach 7 towns or cities in the same land, then you immediately lose the game. So I'll be looking to move or destroy built up lands before they can reach that point. This is also using the scenario Rituals of the Destroying Flame. With rituals, it means that any time I attempt to do damage or destroy the invaders, I either have to pay 2 energy for each effect, or I have to be adjacent to a flame marker. Any spirit can place a flame marker at the end of the spirit phase by forgetting a card with a fire element. Then they place a flame marker in that land. It has to be a land in which they have presence. They also place a blight, which means a presence is lost. They generate fear equal to the current invader stage, and energy equal to the current invader stage, and they also do damage equal to the number of Dahan in that land. So as I'm going to be playing as 2 of the higher level complexity spirits, this is going to be quite a challenge for me, but I do see that these 2 are quite synergistic together in that they can each grant elements to one another to help them come online faster. Particularly in the case of Serpent, I think in the early game it will be about supporting Bringer, but then as Bringer reaches the apex of their power level, they'll be helping to bring Serpent to its full potential, which, as I've mentioned in a previous video, Serpent has the best late game of any spirit. Mountain is the first land type that I have to be concerned about, and immediately I'm noticing a few challenges for next turn. Next turn I would usually be looking to pull off an Aegis with Serpent slumbering beneath the island to defend, but potentially up to 3 lands, but in this situation I think my best bet is to be able to defend these 2 mountains. So I'd look to get some presence into either the wetland or the sands to be able to defend the 2 adjacent mountains. As for Bringer, I'm going to be looking to pull off a second turn Call of Midnight Stream to gain a early major power card, hopefully with number of Dahan in a single land, in order to generate additional energy. So my growth options for Serpent will be to add a presence to a land without blight. I will place a presence into the sands. The reason being is that it gives me an option for Serpent Rouses in Anger to either destroy or move the town. For Bringer, I could either place a presence at range 1 and gain a power card, or add a presence to a land with Dahan or invaders and gain 2 energy. I think as I have to worry about mountains next turn, I can gain a power card and add a presence to range 1. However, if I do this, I won't have the energy to play Predatory Nightmares and destroy the town, which I do want to do if possible. So I have to consider whether or not gaining the early power card is more important than using this. I think I will see what we get. So I'm going to place from the top track of Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares, as we already start with 2 card plays, and I'm looking to try and generate additional energy so that I can reliably play major powers in the early game. So I'm going to place a presence there. This gives me a defend option for next turn using Dread Apparitions and Night Terrors. Again, a minor power card now. So I'm looking for things that synergize with Bringer's elements, potentially grant defense or fire, as I will need fire cards to discard for Rituals of the Destroying Flame. So I'm immediately seeing Inflame the Fires of Life, which does have both a moon and a fire. Go Through Sacrifice, which is a very strong card, although as I'm planning to consume essence with Serpent, this could put Bringer into quite a difficult spot with having very little presence on the board. Drift Down into Slumber does have the air element. And defensive ability, so I should consider this one. It's possible I may be able to reach the top level of Night Terrors with use of this card, as it has the red element. And Disease is quite useful against England. So I think I will take Inflame the Fires of Life. I have an additional growth option for Serpent, which will also to gain a power card and 1 energy. And I'll choose minor powers. So I have Flesh Rot Fever, Teeming Rivers, Drought, and Sap the Strength of Multitudes. Two of these have fire, so I should consider those. Earth is an extremely useful element for Serpent in general. It does add Blight, although destroying 3 towns could prove to be very useful. Could take Teeming Rivers to be able to remove a Blight in this mountain. It does have water and plant, which are quite useful elements, but I will need a Sacred Site, which I don't tend to build as Serpent. Don't think I'm likely to get the 3 suns for Drought, but I value the earth element more than anything else here, so I'm going to take Drought. I now gain energy for the turn. For cards, I'm going to play Gift of the Primordial Deeps for Bringer, or for Serpent to be used on Bringer. The reason I'm choosing this card is it has 2 immediate benefits for Bringer. It gives them a minor power, and if it has a moon on it, I can put that into play, which will bring it up to 3 moons and be able to use the top level of Spirits May Yet Dream, which in turn will grant Serpent an Earth to give it 2 moons and 2 Earth, which can then trigger the 2nd level of Serpent Rouses in Anger. If it doesn't have a moon, then instead of playing it, they can keep it, and that will allow them to choose the 2nd option of Gift of the Primordial Deeps, which grants a moon anyway. So either way it works. In order to get the correct elements, do you need to make sure I play at least 1 card with a moon on. So I think I will play Dreams of the Dahan and Inflame the Fires of Life. My plan being to gather the Dahan into this mountain to give me 3 Dahan. And then I can play Call on Midnight Stream next turn for 3 additional energy. So that's my plan. 1 energy. Okay, so fast powers phase. Let's begin with Gift of the Primordial Deeps. We have Reaching Grasp. Target spirit gets +2 in all their powers. Call to Bloodshed. Delusions of Danger. And Steam Vents. So only Delusions of Danger has the moon symbol that I need. I can use this to push the Explorer, preventing the build, which means I won't need to defend there next turn. Could mean that I instead defend the coastal mountain, but I would need to generate five defense there. Currently I'm only able to generate 4 using Dread Apparitions and Night Terrors. So the question is, do I want to spend the 1 energy to put this into play to generate 2 additional fear right now, or reserve it for a future turn? I don't see myself getting much more use. Yeah, that's difficult. I'm going to put it into play. And and I think I will push the Explorer. The reason being is it saves me energy, as in order to destroy the town that pops up with the tower counterattack, I would need to spend 2 energy from one of the spirits, and I don't think I'm going to have the budget to do that early on. So instead of letting them build the town, I'm just going to move them away, as currently they aren't adjacent to 2 or more towns. It means that lone explorer in the mountain won't build. So if I use Delusions of Danger to push the explorer, let's push him into the sands where the beast could have the option to kill later on. I'm going to use Dreams of the Tahan to gather 2 Tahan. I have 1, 2, 3 moons and 1, 2, 3 air. So I'm going to turn over the top fear card, which is Plan for Departure. Each player may gather 1 town into a coastal land. So I have to think about whether I can use that effectively. It's likely to come up next turn. Potentially moving this town away, which would give me a fairly clear section of the board over here. I then have 3 moons, so I will grant an earth to Serpent. And I believe that is all my fast powers. I have Night Terrors, which generates 3 fear. So, I discard an event card, which is Urban Development. This isn't triggered, as the event cards aren't triggered in the first round. And I go straight to building in mountains. So town, remove disease. And exploring into sands. Okay, slow powers. So I can place a disease or a strife and a fear, 1 range away from a sacred site. I think the disease is best here, as reduces the potential damage coming up from this sands and gives me more time with no mountains on this, towns or cities on this side of the board. So I'll add a disease here. I'll then trigger Serpent Rouses in Anger, and if I push this town, it will prevent them from building a city there. Next turn. So I'm going to push the town to here and generate 2 fear. Okay. So going into turn 2, I have some considerations about where I place presence as bringer. I can choose to place presence in the mountain and play dread apparitions along with night terrors to get to 4 fear, and then use plan for departure to move this town to one of these 2 lands instead. And the 4 fear would be enough with dread apparitions to defend that land. That seems like the best bet. So, I need to play dread apparitions and call on Midnight Stream, which is 2 energy, and I'm gaining 2 for the turn. I need to get to here, so I'm going to choose the 4th growth option, and again I'm going to add from the energy track. Gain 2 energy. Serpent I'm still going to place on the bottom track so I can get to 2 card plays. And going to place my presence. I need to think about next turn, where I should be looking to defend sands. So I'm going to place a presence here, as this gives me access to 3 sands with elemental aegis. One of the things I should now consider is whether or not I should play Aegis this turn. I will be able to prevent a blight here, but by moving this town I could prevent that blight. And instead play Aegis next turn, which will affect more lands. Which means instead I could play Gift of Flowing Power. And allow Bringer to play Predatory Nightmares. That's one option. Alternative, I could look to reclaim next turn. I think I will gain another power card and energy, so that I can decide what my best option is. Promises of Protection. Tormenting Rotflies. Purifying Flame. And Renewing Rain. Renewing Rain is a really useful card for elements for Serpent. It has the 3 elements that Serpent needs in order to get to the 2nd level of Serpent Wakes in Power. So I should really consider that card. Purifying Flame does have Leaf, which is useful. Can also remove Blight from a mountain, but only one away from a sacred site, of which I don't have any currently. The only one that doesn't require sacred site access is Tormenting Rotflies, which affects sands and wetlands. 2 range away. Should probably think about taking Renewing Rain and look to build a sacred site at some point. Purifying Flame does have synergy with Drought, and does also have Fire. I'm going to take Renewing Rain, as I like the ability to get to Serpent Wakes in power sooner. So I'm going to play Aegis and Absorb Essence this turn. So I gain 1 energy for the turn and bring against 3. Bring is going to play Dread Apparitions, call on Midnight Stream. So, starting with Dread Apparitions, I'll defend for 1 and generate 1 fear. I will then use Night Terrors. I have 1, 2 moons. I can get a 3rd moon with Absorb Essence. So first I want to use Midnight Stream, call on Midnight Stream. However, if I miss on getting a moon major power, I will only do 1 fear, which won't be enough. 2 fear is sufficient, as defend 3 blocks the city damage, leaving 1 more damage coming through. So I just have to hope that no additional damage comes out as a result of the event card. So I'm going to generate 2 more fear with Night Terrors, which earns me this fear card. Although that said, if I was able to get to the 3rd stage of, the 2nd stage of Spirits May Yet Dream by getting a major power with a moon and using Absorb Essence to gain the 3rd, I think I will risk it. This is a difficult setup, so sometimes you've got to go for a risk. I'm going to use Call on Midnight Stream now. Currently missing the red. So current situation is, yeah. I'll be missing a red if I do this. An animal element. So I need to get both of those elements again. See, gaining any element as Serpent would allow me to gain a leaf, which would gain both spirits energy. Granting a red via Absorb Essence also works. As long as I draw a moon. So I'm risking trying to get both a moon and a animal element. I'm going to try it. So, gain a major power. So I did get it, and I have just enough energy to play Manifest Incarnation. And it generates 6 fear, target land with city. Well, that is quite a good pickup. So if we forget Call or Midnight Stream, we gain 3 energy for the 3 Dahan. And can spend the additional 3 energy to play it. Now I can Absorb Essence. Which gets 3 energy. I can then grant a moon to Bringer, turn up top fear card, which is Depart the Dangerous Land, remove 1 explorer from a land with beast disease, or at least 2 to harm. Have some options there. I can now grant target spirit and element they have at least 1 of, so I'll grant, can't grant a leaf as I actually don't have a leaf. So if I grant a moon, I can do the second stage of Serpent Rouses in Anger again, as I'll have, no, I already have the moon from the track. So there are no elements I think that help me here. We'll say an earth. Earth is always useful from Serpent. Okay. Night Terrors will generate 3 more fear. Which earns me my first fear card. I believe I just have... I need to consume the essence for... So 1 energy, and I think we will take this essence. And then Elemental Aegis to defend 3 in this land and the adjacent mountains. So all fast power's done, so let's go to the invader phase. Fear card. Gathering 1 town into a coastal land. So I'm going to move this town to here, and this town into here. Plan will be to do something like Manifest Incarnation or Drought in this land. Event card. Years of Little Rain. For each board I can Let the plants die and the land wither. For each board, discard the top minor power. If it lacks water, add a blight to sands. Towns, cities, and Harn have -1 health until the end of the turn. Or I can act to ease the drought. 4 energy per player, aided by water. Each spirit may add 1 presence to one of their lands with Dahan. If I can do this, I think I have to go for it, as getting additional presence down early is really going to help me. So I'm currently at 2. I can get to 6, which means discarding 1 water would be sufficient. So if I were to discard I'm going to be reclaiming as Bringer, as I only have 1 card to play. I could do the reclaim 1 option next turn, but I don't have many good options there. Which means I could play Gift of Flowing Power. Renewing Rain isn't going to do much for me currently until I can build a Sacred Site adjacent to a jungle or sands with Blight. So I think if I discard this, I could even forget it, and that would mean I have to spend 2 energy. That could mean I keep 2 energy for a Dahan counter-attack this turn to destroy a town. I think if I discard, I want to keep this card around. So I'm going to discard to gain 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So each spirit can add a presence. So I'm going to start taking you from the top track so I can get to the any element next turn. And one of their lands with Dahan. This does mean I can't add a presence as Bringer, but I still think it's worth it for Serpent. Going to place them on the mountain, as that Sacred Site would then have more range. Okay. So I have no energy, so the beast attack will be ignored, as I can't pay the energy to do the damage. And during Ravage in every land, defend 1 per Dahan in the land. Okay. So Vader's Ravage in mountains. So this is defended. This is skipped. This is defended. The Dahan fight back, but no damage is dealt, and this is defended. Building in sands. This disease is removed. Town. 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 Exploring into jungles. So no one can reach here, which is good. Now on to slow powers. So, Manifest Incarnation will generate 6 fear. 5, 6. Plus 1 fear for each town and city, for each presence in target land. So I have 2 more fear. So I'm just going to unstack my presence to make it clearer. And then remove. Because this is a remove rather than damage or destroy, it does actually work with Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares. So this earns a fear card. Vader's Ravage, but there is no one to ravage. And then Serpent rouses in anger. So I can push a town and generate 2 fear. I'm considering playing Gift of Flowing Power and Drought next turn, which would mean more towns in the same land. It's preferable. If I can get to 3, I could also destroy a city, as long as I have the energy. Which I think I can have if I place and gain 4. I could even choose to do a Ritual of Destruction in this sand, which get 2 fear, do 2 damage to destroy the town. That's an option as well. I could do the ritual here. Destroy this town. That does have more adjacency. And then push this town to here. Generate 2 fear. I think that works better. Should have the energy. Okay. So that's everything with Serpent and Bringer. So my main aim this turn is to pull off a drought at the elemental threshold level, which would mean using this any element for a sun and then getting to 3 moons as Bringer to grant the 3rd sun. To get to the 3rd moon, I either need to place this moon and reclaim a card that has a moon on it, which would be reclaim 1, add a presence, and then play Predatory Nightmares. Alternatively, claim cards and then play Gift of Flowing Power. If I were to claim 1 and add a presence at range 0, then place a presence with Serpent in sands, I could do a ritual forgetting Gift of Flowing Power to destroy that town. Which would just leave me with yeah, I think that works. So add a presence, arena 0, so let's create another sacred site here. I'm going to gain 4 energy, Serpent, place this presence here, and I'm claiming 1 as bringer. So Dreams of the Dahan will allow me to move the Dahan in this mountain, which aren't doing a great deal at the minute, closer to the shore. Flame the Fires of Life would allow me to place a disease I will have just the 2 red. Delusions of Danger. Can push 1 Explorer, which I don't think I can use to prevent a build. Dread Apparitions can't help defend. I won't have the energy for Dread Apparitions. So I think Dreams of the Dahan is the best one in this situation. So I reclaim that, and I'll play these 2 cards. So 3 energy. And 1 energy. I will play Drought. Should I, instead of gaining 4 energy, gain 1 and a power card? That makes more sense. So I can potentially play that. Gift of Living Energy. Razor Sharp Undergrowth. Gold's Allure. And Lure of the Unknown. Gold's Allure is interesting as it has a fire and a mountain, which would get me to the first level of Serpent Rouses in Anger. And with that I could destroy a town that's going to be built here. And I could potentially gather from that jungle and that strife. So that actually does quite a bit for me. Lure of the Unknown is quite useful because it has good elements for Serpent, including the plant. But I'm not going to be able to reach any of the Serpent Wakes in power as I don't have water this turn, and none of these grant water. So I'm going to take Gold's Allure. So I'll play Gold's Allure and Drought, and then forget Gift of Flowing Power to do a Ritual of Flame in the sands. So that destroys the presence, places a blight, generates 2 fear, 2 energy, 2 damage, places a flame marker. Okay. So, let's start with Dreams of the Dahan. Going to gather 2 Dahan into this jungle. And trigger Spirits May Yet Dream. So, turn this fear card face up. Dahan Threaten. Each player adds 1 strife in a land with Dahan. I'm able to reach this card this turn. I believe I am. Which might change things. I think it's probably something I think about for next turn. Okay. So I then generate 3 fear in this land with Night Terrors. I grant a Sun with Spirits May Yet Dream to Serpent. Okay, that's all the fast powers. So, depart the dangerous land. I can read one of these. Are there any other options aside from a single explorer? So this one is going to die anyway. This one would still build. That would reduce the amount of fear I need to generate to defend that land. So going to remove this one because there might be a chance I could prevent the build here next turn, which keeps this area clearer. Each player adds a strife in a land with Dahan. So I'm going to add one to this city. Plan to destroy these 3 this turn. So I think if I place it on this city, when wetlands do come up, that could potentially help me. Event card. Outpaced. Humanity has always been faster than you, but the invader's terrifying speed catches you off guard. Each spirit chooses independently for each of their slow powers played this turn. Discard the power card, gain 1 energy plus the card's printed energy cost. Or I can work to match their pace. Pay 3 energy. May choose to resolve the power card now. Or destroy 2 presents. I really want to be in a position to do the drought this turn. But destroying 2 presents really... it's really difficult to contemplate. I'm not sure I need to do predatory nightmares. So I can discard that. Gold's a lure I can probably discard. But drought I should keep. If I pay the 3 energy, however, this one's very difficult. So if I discard this, I would gain 1 energy, putting me on 4. Can't spend the 3 energy, so I would still have to destroy 2 presents. That may still be worth it. So discard gold's lure for 1. And I'll destroy these 2 presents. And resolve this power now to destroy these for 2 energy. And generate 4 fear. On each board, add 1 disease. Ignore disease during builds this turn. Still going to place it in the jungle, as this is where the England escalation effect is most likely to take place. Similarly, though that's sad, no, it doesn't make most sense here. Each spirit chooses a different land where Dahan outnumber towns, cities. Each Dahan there does 1 damage, which kills these, but not here unless I want to spend the energy. So building in mountains. So nothing here. Town here. City here. City here. Ravaging in sands. So no, no, blight, and no. Building in jungles, no. Town. 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 And then exploring into sands. Escalation. City. City. So I'm going to reclaim cards as bringer. Gain a power card. As Manifest Incarnation is quite strong and costs a lot, I'm going to go from a minor. So, spur on with Words of Fire. Portents of Disaster. Fail the Knight's Hunt. Pact of the Joined Hunt. What I should look to do is play Delusions of Danger and Manifest Incarnation together. So if I was to take one of these that grants sun, that would give me enough to reach the second level. Portents of Disaster does have all the right elements, and additionally generates fear. Spell with Words of Fire is quite useful for Serpent, as they do like to play lots of cards. Plus it's another fire card to forget. So I'm going to take Spell on with Words of Fire. I'm also going to reclaim cards as Serpent, which means I can move a presence. What I think I'll do is move a presence to here, as this gives me adjacency for Aegis on the 3 different jungles, and also I can destroy towns with Serpent Rouses and Anger. I'll also place presence. Could choose either water or reclaim one. If I was to choose water, play Renewing Rain this turn. That gives me 2 water, 1, 2 earth, potentially 3 from Spirits May Yet Dream. And I need another plant, which I don't have. So I could gain the plant from Spirits May Yet Dream, which means I would need to play another earth to get an earth there. So Aegis works out well. That does give me the 2 water, so I could take claim 1. Which means I could play Aegis next turn. So I'll place this presence, and if I'm here, that gives me quite a lot of adjacency to sands and jungles with blight. Gain energy for the turn. This does mean this jungle will be blighting, but it's effectively neutral, as I will be removing a blight with Renewing Rain. So 2 cards. So because so these 2 together next turn, I can grab myself the sun from Spirits May Yet Dream. So let's save those 2. Gain 3 energy for the turn. Dreams of the Dahan makes sense to gather 2 Dahan into here to kill these after the defense from Elemental Aegis. Could use Inflame the Fires of Life, as it has the red that I need. For Night Terrors. And I'm going to need to save energy for Manifest Incarnation. So I'll go with those 2. Okay. So fast powers, defend 3 in every land. And gather up to 2 Dahan, 2 range away. Spirits May Yet Dream. In fact, before gathering Dahan, I should first check the fear card. So this will be triggered at Terror level 2. Dahan Raid. Each player chooses a different land with Dahan. 1 damage per Dahan. So I don't think that helps me this turn. So rather than gaining the fear now, I could gain the fear next turn. And look to move the Dahan. Position them for that. So I think I still will move down. And then, so spirits may yet dream. Target spirit gains an element they have at least one of. So I have 1, 2 water, 1, 2, 3 earth. So I need a second plant. So grants a plant to Serpent, and then generates 3 fear. Event card. Putting down roots. On an inland land on each board. Replace one explorer with a town. Okay. Considering this one with the intention of doing a drought here. Let's do that. Invaders do not ravage in lands with disease or strife. So I have saved myself from that problem. Each player may push one explorer or Dahan, one explorer or town from a land with Dahan. So I want to try and avoid this build up where possible. So I think if I push to there, alternatively, pushing explorers. Pushing this one explorer would kill them into here, because I'm defending for 3, so one more explorer won't matter, and it will kill that explorer. So yeah, I think I pushed the town from here to prevent that build up. My option is to either push the town from here, push an explorer. I'm going to push the explorer. Okay, building in sands. City, town, city, town. Ravaging in jungles, destroyed. for one fear. Destroyed for another fear. Skipped. Nothing. Building in sands again. Town. City. Town. City. Exploring into Chunkles. Okay. So, skipped. And then escalation. So it's either a town here or a city here. Let's do a town here. And I have to do it. This disease is removed. Snow powers. So let's start with Renewing Rain. I will remove Blight from this Sands. And I will add a presence to range 1. I have to consider Serpent Rouse as an anger here. So I have 2 fire and 3 earth. So I can destroy town. Probably this town, as it's within 1 range of a flame marker. So I should think about drought for next turn. I place 1 here, that gives me options for drought. So that's Serpent Wakes in power. I also gain an energy, as does Bringer. Then Inflame the Fires of Life. So I can add a disease. Or a strife. So I think I'll look to do a Manifest Incarnation here. And then So I want to add did I place a town even though there was a disease there? I think I did. Yeah, that disease should have been removed instead of placing the town. My mistake. So do I want to add another disease to prevent another build? I might well do. Yeah, let's add another disease. Keep that contained. Okay, and Serpent rouses in anger, destroys a town for 1 fear. Okay. These have not yet been played. These have. So for Bringer, I'm looking to do Manifest Incarnation. In here if possible. Fortunately, because it's slow, I would lose the presence. This does mean there's going to be a Blight Cascade unless I can defend there. Which I could do with Dread Apparitions. I think I want to get a Dread Apparitions going now. If I were to Aegis I could, so if I could claim 1, get back Aegis, use could use Aegis on Drought. Aegis can defend 2, 3. If I were to use Aegis and absorb Essence. Defend 4. Which isn't enough for either of these two. But I could potentially play 3 cards. If I were to use Spur On with Words of Fire. And Manifest Incarnation. My third card could be Drought, although I would be, that still would be placing Blight here and here and here. Could use Gift of the Primordial Deeps. Dread Apparitions would be sufficient to stop a Ravage here. So 1 fear plus 4 defense from Aegis if I was in this jungle. The Dahan damage would be enough to stop that one, which means I'd just be losing a presence here and taking a bite. And similarly here. See, I would need nine energy. Currently on 7, getting 3 for the turn, and I could gain 2 here. Okay, I think that works. So, I think now's the time to start building up to 3 card plays. Let me see. If I want to play Manifest Incarnation again next turn, I will need so 5 more, puts me on 12. And spending 9, so that'll be 3 energy next turn. 3 more energy. So I think it makes more sense to gain 4 energy this turn. Okay. So here, gain 2. And then 4 for the turn. Serpent. Place 1 here. And I will gain 4 energy, I think, and reclaim Elemental Aegis, and then 1 for the turn. I'm going to play Absorb Essence, Elemental Aegis. I'm going to play Spell with Words of Fire to Manifest Incarnation. Let's start with Spirits May Yet Dream. I need to double check what my element situation is. So, the any element, currently, I am on 1, 2, 3 water, 3 earth. If I gain a plant, I could gain another plant, which gives Serpent Wakes in power, and I'll give it to both of them as I plan to consume in essence this turn. So I think plant is the best one to gain. Except I need a sun for Elemental Aegis will grant the sun. So, Absorb Essence will grant the sun. Yes, okay. So granting, so any is a plant. Spirit Your Dream will grant a plant. Turn over the top fear card. Panic. Each player adds 1 strife in a land with Beast Disease or Dahan. For the rest of this turn, invaders have -1 health per strife to a minimum of 1. Okay. So I will first use Spur 'em with Words of Fire, which gives 1 energy, and plays Gift of the Primordial Deeps. Then use Gift of the Primordial Deeps so that Bringer can gain a minor power. Let's see. So it either has to defend or move and explore. So I could use Disorienting Landscape to push an explorer from this land. Could use Cycles of Time and Tide to remove a blight. From this land, which would is very similar to defending it. It costs few energy, and it means I have Dread Apparitions for next turn. So I'm going to play Cycles of Time and Tide. Use it immediately to remove the blight. And I have 1, 2, 3 moons, 1, 2 air, and a red, so I'll generate 3 fear. I will absorb essence. I think from here. Gain 3 energy. Target sphere gains 1. And Elemental Aegis, which is defending all land surrounding this jungle. Okay. Invade phase. So Dahan raid. So I'll destroy this town for 2 energy. And I think do the same here. And then event. Well prepared explorers. For the rest of this turn, explorers have 1 health. Okay. Each beast generates 1 fear if invaders are present and moves to an adjacent land if not. So 1 fear for that beast. I'm going to move this beast to this land. The reason being is that some events put beasts on boards if there are none. So by moving it, I give more options for beasts to appear. And add 1 Dahan to an inland land with Dahan. Should think about options for doing a ritual of flame. That's inland, that's coastal, not inland. Let's put 1 here. And another 1 here. Okay. Building in jungles. Town. Town. Remove disease. Building in sands. Ravaging in sands. Okay. So that's a bite. That's a bite. That's a bite. This defended. Need harm. Do 6 damage. If I pay 2. That's enough to destroy both of these, which generates 2 fear. Okay. Building in jungles. City. City. Town. Snow powers. Haven't explored yet. Coastal maps. So no escalation. Oops. Okay. Snow powers. Start with Manifest Incarnation. So I'm going to remove these. Generate 6 fear. Plus 1, 4, so there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more fear. So that's 2 plus 4, which gets another fear card. Plus 3 fear. And then Invader's Ravage doing -6 damage, which removes that strife. And so 6 damage, counteracts everything, and the Daham fights back and kills the town for 1 fear. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3 fire and 1, 2, 3 moon and 1, 2, 3, 4 earth. So I can destroy a city. So I'll destroy this one. Which generates 2 fear. And push a town. For 2 more fear. I'll then do Serpent Wakes in Power. So each spirit gains 1 energy. Each spirit can add a presence. 4 card plays. I can reclaim 1, gain a major. So yes, I can do 4 card plays next turn. Let's create a sacred site in the middle. And I think any element works here. Let's go. I'm planning to defend next turn with Dread Apparitions. Yeah, let's get a presence in there. Okay. I think that's all my snow powers. I did forget to spend 2 energy on this Dahan Ravage, so I'll do that now as I destroy a town there. Okay. So 4, 5, I have 9 energy. So I'm going to add a presence and reclaim 1. I'll just get to 5 energy. I'm going to try and play Manifest Incarnation as much as possible. Let's go over here. Oops. Okay. And reclaim Manifest Incarnation. And 5 for the turn. And then a Serpent. Let's see, 5 on the board. So I'm going to add a presence. Range 3. Coastal land's coming up. 1, 2, 3. I think I can do quite a bit of damage over here now. I will gain an energy to a major power. Okay. So the one I'm thinking of most is Unlock the Gates of Deepest Power, as I will be at I think I'm missing an air. I have 1, 2 water, I have the fire, I have the suns. I'll have the moons, have the earth. I'm missing a plant, but I can gain that from Bringer. So yeah, I'll just be missing the air currently. I still think that is the best card though, as let's see. Adding disease is useful, although the elements aren't. I'm mostly thinking about if I can reach the top level of Serpent Rouses in Anger, which this is the best card for doing so, and for consistently using Serpent Wakes in Power. So I'm going to take Unlock, discard these 3, and I will remove Gift of the Primordial Deeps. And reclaim Aegis. Then gain 6 energy for the turn. And I'll play these 4 cards. So I'll have 5 damage and 1 land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3 water. 1, potentially 2 plants. 3 from Bringer. So that gives me everything but the top level of Serpent Rouses and Anger. Okay. Bringer, who will be playing Manifest Incarnation and believe Dread Apparitions. As I plan to... So my plan is to defend 4 here, here. So Dread Apparitions plus Night Terrors in there sufficiently defends that. Okay. So let's start with Spirits May Yet Dream. Dahan attack. Each player chooses a different land with Dahan, 1 damage per Dahan there. Okay. So I could destroy a city here. It's quite useful. -1 health per Dahan. Or per strife. If I had a second strife to this, this could kill a city. Okay, we'll get there when we get there. Target spirit gains an element they have at least 1 of. So I'll be gaining a plant. So I have my 1, 2, 3 plants. And I will now unlock the gates of deepest power. Going to gain it as Serpent, as I think Serpent is now in a stronger position to be able to use elements from mages. So draw 2, keep 1. So Cleansing Floods or Pillar of Living Flame. I'm quite likely to be able to hit the higher threshold of Pillar of Living Flame for fire. Much... well... no, you could reach Cleansing Floods as well. Do I have any presence in wetlands currently? I do. It does remove blight. Let's take Cleansing Floods. I like the idea of removing blight. That's ready. Okay. Let's go Dread Apparitions in this jungle. Defense for 1 fear. 3 more fear with Night Terrors. And then Aegis to defend for 4 in here, here and here. So this is defended for 8, this is defended for 4, this is defended for 4. Okay. So another fear card. And fear cards faster than I can turn them over now. So onto the invader stage. Panic. Had a strife in a land with beast, disease, or harm. So I'm going to add strife here. Which then brings this down to 1 health. And I think to be on the safe side, no, I plan to destroy this city. Let's add a strife to this city. Dahan attack. Each pair chooses a different land with Dahan, 1 damage per Dahan there, so 1 damage there. Destroys the city for 2 fear, cost me 2 energy. And this destroys the city, which is next to a flame marker, so that costs me nothing. That's 2 more fear. Secret fear cards. Demoralized. Defend 2 in all lands. Dahan Enheartened. Each pair chooses a different land. In chosen lands, gather up to 2 Dahan, then 1 damage if Dahan are present. So if I gather 2 Dahan here, that would allow me to counter-attack there. One damage to this city. Then let's see, I plan to do 5 damage with Serpent Rouses and Anger. Which is enough to destroy these 2. So I'm just going to move these a bit further inland. So I plan to use Drought over here to destroy these. And 1 damage, which I will do to the Explorer. Okay, event. Farmers seek the Dahan for aid. Dahan are uncertain whether to teach the invaders farming techniques more in tune with the island's life. You recommend they spend the invaders 2 damage to Dahan and land with towns and cities. Add a blight to a land with at least 2 towns or cities. Towns and cities have -1 health to a minimum of 1 until the end of the turn. Okay. So that would either mean here Don't think I want the next normal ravage to become a build because I'm well positioned for this. Okay, so let's spurn the invaders and we'll have a Blight Island and see what comes. 2 damage, 2 to harm in a land with towns and cities. Let's kill this Tahan. I think we're probably okay there. Add a blight to a land with at least 2 towns and cities. So I think I have to choose this one. We get a cascade, which causes the blight card to flip. Aid from lesser spirits, okay. Now, if I do it here, I do create a blight cascade. If I do it here, I lose a presence, which does mean I won't be able to use Serpent Rises in Anger on that space. I could still use it here, but it's less useful there. I will be adding a presence 1 range away, so I could do it here. That's difficult. I think I play it safe and go here. Town cities have -1 health. So this is down to 1 health. This is down to 1 health. Oh, just remember. So you're -2. You are now on 1 health. Okay. Half the boards, add a disease to a land with both Tarn and invaders. Do 2 damage. 2 to harm there. So let's put it here to prevent lots of building on the coast. And I think I have enough to harm over there. How much damage would they do? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is enough. Draw cards for Aid from Lesser Spirits. So for Bringer. So I think I need to choose Uncanny Melting to keep the Blight in control. And it has pretty good elements for Bringer with the yellow and the the sun and the moon. So this will be my free card every turn. And Serpent. Nothing with Earth, that's unfortunate. However, Plant is always good. That's an additional fear. I don't want to use Haunted Embers because it adds blight. I think I'll choose Animated Rack Root. I think it's going to help me get to unlock the Gates of Deepest Power more reliably. Oh, I've done this wrong. It's not draw. Okay, well, let's reshuffle. It's the fairest way of doing it. It's not gain a minor power each, it's draw 3, choose. Okay, so Swarming Wasps, Call to Migrate, Animated Rack Root, okay. So I'll take Animated Rack Root for Serpent. These are much of a muchness, but I think I'll take Call to Migrate. I think Dahan are going to be more useful here than Beasts. Okay. So that's the event card. Building in Sands. City. Town. 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 Ravaging in jungles. So destroyed. Clear. Destroyed. And spend 2 energy. To destroy these for 3 more fear. Building in coastal lands, so remove a disease. City. City. Town. Remove a disease. Exploring into mountains. Okay. So, Manifest Incarnation. Escalation first. So, can choose here. That's 3. No, it has to be here. So it's a town. Oh, I can choose here as well. I can choose here as it's adjacent to the flame marker. And on this board, 3, 3, and 3. So I will choose. Sands is just gone. So let's have a city here. Okay. So, slow powers. Manifest Incarnation. Let's do it in here. So that removes 6 fear, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 11 fear. So that's 3 plus a fear card. And then move. And the Ravage, which is ignored, plus 3 fear. Okay. Next up, Gold's Allure. So I need to think about coastal lands. So towns and cities have -1 health until the end of the turn. And I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. Serpent rouses in anger. This is on 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's enough to destroy all of those. And then I can push the remaining town. Except I'm not in that land, but I could be if I use Serpent Wakes in Power. So I'll do that first. Gain 1 energy. Each can add a presence. Let's go here. And then Gold's Allure. Add a Strife. And Serpent rouses in anger, so that's 2 damage, 2 fear, and 1 damage for 2 fear, 2 damage for 2 fear. So, another fear card. for those. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Damage. Then Serpent Rasenaga's second level. Let's push to here. Generate 2 more fear. And then Drought. I'll destroy... Do I want to use Drought here? I can destroy 2 towns, but I am placing a Blight, and I do worry about an event card that forces me to place 2 Blight. I don't have the elements to destroy the city either, so I think I'll leave that there. Okay. So let's see, I have 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So I'm going to reclaim cards as Serpent, so I have access to everything. I want to use Aegis this turn. I think this is a good land to be in. So it gives me adjacency to 1, 2, 3, 4 coastal lands, and these 2 aren't a worry. Do I want to play... Do I need a Sacred Site this turn? Don't think I do. So I'm going to move to here. And I'm going to place a presence. Thinking 12 energy here, as I want to be in a wetland for cleansing floods. Okay. And as for Bringer, see if I reclaim, I'll have 8 energy. If I reclaim 1, I could reclaim Manifest Incarnations and play it with Delusions of Danger. Which does give me everything I need. So let's do that. So reclaim 1. Add a presence at range 0. Let's have Sacred Site here. They are going to be building, they'll be building a city here, so that's where I can use Manifest Incarnation. And then gain 5 energy. Play these 2. And for Serpent, so I want to unlock the gates of deepest power. So I get 12. Cleansing floods. Elemental Aegis. I'm going to do 10 damage here, which is sufficient to destroy almost all of those. And I have all the water I need. I have 1, 2 suns, moons, fire. Could gain an air. Water, earth, plants. Missing a red. I have one more card because of this is free. So I could play God's Allure. So let's do that. So this is costing me 4, 6 between those two. 4 remaining for. I'm not against Steve's power. See, I'm also at 1, 2, 3 moons. So I won't be able to do Serpent Houses and Anger this turn. I also won't have the 7 energy for it. Just double check if I want to do a flame marker anywhere. Don't believe I do, there's too much blight on the board. Not enough Dahan around. Should be 2 more energy. Okay, so let's do Spirits May Yet Dream. Maybe I have all the suns I need. 1, 2, 3. So I can grant another to you. So we have overseas trade seems safer. Now, defend 9 in all coastal lands, and they do not build in coastal lands this turn. Well, that does mean I don't need to use Aegis. Gaining an element. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have 2 Ennies. Okay, well let's take this now. See what we get. I feel like I have to take the Jungle Hungers, as I have sufficient to be able to destroy. City, all towns, yeah. Okay. Then Delusions of Danger to generate 2 fear, which is another fear card. Night Terrors for 3. And Aegis for additional defense just in case. Alright, I have 4 fear cards to trigger at Terror level 3. So, overseas trade seems safer. Defend 9 in all coastal lands. Dahan on their guard. In each land, defend 2 per Dahan. Okay. Trade suffers. Each player may replace one city with one town, or one town with an explorer in a coastal land. Actually, I don't think I want to do that, as if I can get an presence into here with Serpent Wakes in power, I can use Manifest Incarnation in here. And that's the only city on the coastal land, so let's leave that. I suppose I could do it here. Yeah, that probably works out better. Yes, okay. Yep. Where of the interior? Each player removes one explorer or town from any land. Okay. Is there any way that's going to prevent a build? Don't believe so. So let's remove these two. Might give me an option to clear out here. And events. Stage 3, local diaspora. In the single land with the most invaders, push one explorer and town to each adjacent land. So we have 4, 5, 7, 6. Yeah, it's this land. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So let's go here. 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 Each beast generates 1 fear of invaders' presence and moves to adjacent land if not. So that's 2 fear. On each board, push 2 Dahan from a land with blight to a land without blight. Okay. So that helps me to kill those. Here. Okay, and building in jungles. So no town, city, town. Ravaging in coastal lands. So defended for 9, 9. Destroyed for 2 energy. Destroyed for 2 energy. 4 more fear. 3 more fear. And that, I think, is the game. So let's do the final build. City. City. Town. Town. Jungle models. I finally made it to that jungle. I'd kept it pristine this whole game. Okay. So I have one. It's how much can I clear up this board before I do. So let's do Serpent wakes in power. Let's get my last presence down. I remember to build in there. I don't remember if I did. Don't think it matters. Okay. So let's do Manifest Incarnation, which is enough fear to win the game. But I also want to Jungle Hungers to destroy this city and all of these. I don't have the energy. Oh dear. That's what you get when you don't save the energy. Well, I can destroy these with Cleansing Floods. And gain 1 energy. Remove these with Manifest Incarnations. Serpent rouses in anger can do plenty of damage. I think I'll leave it there. So there we go. Bringer and Serpent. Strong combination, I think, once you get going. It's really interesting how Bringer very much carries the early game with cards like Dread Apparitions and Call on Midnight Stream to get an early major power, but then Serpent Slumbering Beneath the Island really picks up in the late game to finish the invaders off. Hope you enjoyed. This will be my last video featuring non-Jagged Earth content, so look out for upcoming videos with some of the new spirits. Thanks for watching.